Hello, everyone. Happy first day of summer. My name is Jennifer Waters, and I am happy to be here. I'm part of the CNY fertility team. I hope everybody's feeling good today. My goal today is to not say so I hope that I can achieve that because it certainly is the default syllable. So today I want to talk about some lifestyle choices, things that you can do in your daily life that don't cost anything, that are going to help you to prevent recurring pregnancy loss, otherwise known as miscarriage. There's so many of you that I see in the clinic. I ask everybody on Tuesdays, what have you been diagnosed with in terms of your fertility? And so many of you have recurring pregnancy loss. So we're very quick to jump into medication and pills, and certainly the right supplementation can help a lot. But really, lasting change begins with your lifestyle. Okay. So it's what we do every day that matters the most. Those of you that have been listening to me for a while know that I always say that. Because why? Because that's what accumulates over time. You can do a detox every spring, and that's beneficial. But if you do a little bit of detox every single day, that is going to be the biggest impact. So, absolutely, before I talk about lifestyle options. There I go again. If you do have a history of miscarriage and recurring pregnancy loss, please find a common sense health practitioner that can give you a differential diagnosis. This is part of the tradition of Chinese medicine to figure out what specifically is your pattern so that we can support you to make a lasting change there. I'm going to say goodbye to Instagram because I did not sign on under CNY fertility. So I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'll rejoin under the CNY fertility name. Okay, so goodbye, everybody. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so I'm back. So we're just doing Facebook Live now. So, obviously, you're going to want to do some purification practices, otherwise known as detox. There's a lot of information on my website, jenniferwaters.net. I did a lot of research on toxins that contribute to miscarriage. It's that simple. There is a correlation. This is all on pubmed.gov. This is not woo-woo science. This is the reality that we're in now, that we are bombarded with chemicals and toxins, and we have to do something about it. And remember, as consumers, you have power. What we purchase is the power. So if we all stop buying poison that's causing harm to ourselves and our children and our planet, then they're going to stop making it. It's that simple. So please feel empowered in your choices. I know it's hard if you're on a tight budget to choose where to put those dollars, but I can tell you it's worth it to buy chemical-free products. In the long run, it's easier to prevent disease than to treat it. So we want to do things that are going to prevent a toxic accumulation over time. So there's that. So you're going to get some advice from somebody who's going to help you with a differential diagnosis. You're probably going to do some purification practices, and you're probably going to do some targeted supplements of a couple things that you probably have not considered. Okay. So this is what we're good at. The CNY fertility team is helping you look a little bit outside the box to see ways that you probably haven't considered in the past. Okay. So the thing that I find is the most overlooked, whether it's in modern medicine, alternative, complementary, common sense, Chinese medicine, whatever, really is the psycho-emotional component, right? So somebody comes in, they have had 3 miscarriages in the past. We jump right into genetics, into switching up protocols, all of this stuff. Rarely does anybody look at what could be the recurring psycho-emotional state that could be contributing to this. Maybe not a direct correlation, but at some point we have to include the emotional state that you're in. So it's really important because we want to help you to get freed up emotionally. Because if you are easily triggered, you're repressing a lot of anger or fear or some other negative state that is not going to benefit you and your child in the future. I fully believe, having been involved with healthcare for, I'm going to say 25, almost 30 years now, that the emotional state is 1000% involved in chronic disease. It is. It has been for myself. I have had to overcome a lot of negative emotional states. I believe that that is the true spiritual practice. You want to go to God, you want to go to church, you want to do meditation, whatever. What are we doing during that time? We're reducing our negativity. We're eliminating the delusion of negative afflictions, emotions, negative emotions that are no longer serving us so that we can be a benefit to humanity. It's up to us, folks, to make the world a better place. And how do we do that? We do that in our very own mind and emotions by dealing with our issues so that we are not triggered when somebody cuts us off on the road or does something annoying, or we're not going to fly off the handle and start going crazy and making a bad situation worse. We want to have the emotional resiliency that we can make a bad situation better. Neutral or above is what I always say. So you don't have to go from a bad day to a good day. What I want you to do is go from a bad moment to a neutral moment. From that place of neutrality, then we could possibly go up. But we can only do that by being honest with our emotions. Whatever you feel is correct. There's no wrong feeling. But I want you to use a meditative practice, quiet, getting into nature, the transitional times, waking up. Try to notice your mind in the morning. When you first open your eyes, what are the thoughts that are coming in? A friend recently did a workshop with some well-known speaker and basically summarized the whole workshop into the essence of it was the first 15 minutes of your day is going to set up your entire day. So your day is either going to springboard from those first 15 minutes, practicing gratitude, setting your intention, or if you're negative and you're already complaining because it's raining out or you don't have half and half for your coffee, whatever, then you're going to spend the rest of your day kind of undoing that, right? So pay attention to your mind in the transitional times in particular. And remember, when it comes to nutrition and eating, the transitional times are also before you eat and after you eat. So my practice, my lifestyle practice now is really about focusing on the transitions. Waking up before I eat, going to bed, at the end of the day, whatever transitions are meaningful for you, at the end of a work shift, at the end of giving a treatment. These are transitions for me. And I try to become extremely aware of my mind and emotions then, because we have an opportunity. If you believe or you feel that we are here to benefit others and that it's your state of mind that does that ultimately, then you can use these transitional times to really recharge yourself and send this energy outward to help each other. This is why we're here. I tell folks all the time, you get to choose. You're here to help people, plants, or animals. Don't tell Dr. Kills about the plants part, okay? Because he won't like that. No, but seriously, let's not say plants. Let's say the environment or the oceans, the atmosphere. So you get to choose. Hopefully, you have already settled in on one of those areas because there's not much outside of that in terms of having what I feel is a meaningful life. Okay, so back to the feeling realm. So, how are you going to free yourself up emotionally? It begins by paying attention to how you're feeling. We need to become resilient. Please, folks, develop some resiliency. It's not about eliminating stress, it's about developing your nervous system in a way that you can become flexible so that you're not reacting all of the time. You want to have a flexible and resilient nervous system. Our nervous system controls our endocrine system. Remember, it controls all the systems. So if all you do is focus on gaining resiliency in your nervous system, the world is going to be a better place. Your health will improve. Remember, it's not how long you have to relax, it's how quickly can you relax and can you fully relax. If you're having insomnia, high anxiety, those are symptoms that we need to work on your nervous system. There's lots of really cool things that you can do to help yourself. So, just really quickly, and this is all going to be in my blog, so don't worry about remembering it or writing it down. The emotional work, you could do emotional freedom technique that's based on tapping, right? So, you acknowledge the feeling you're having, and then you love and accept yourself. Here's the secret that I have found: it doesn't really matter where you tap. I like to karate chop these 2 points. This is small intestine 3. This is for the head, neck, shoulder, and the entire spine. If you karate chop these 2 points together and then you state the feeling that you're having, I always say like burnt toast or moldy blueberries, or it helps to give it a different kind of name so that it's not a label. I feel anxious. I feel this. Like, really get to know these symptoms. Even though I feel like burnt toast, I deeply love and accept myself. Okay. Whatever you're feeling, tap anywhere in the body and love and accept yourself and see what happens. This is all about change. People say all the time, oh, you need to let that go, let it go, let it go. How do you let something go? And how do you know that you've let something go? Well, there's many paths to letting go. I ask all the people that I respect in my life regularly, how do you let go? How do you let go of negative emotions, of past experiences that you're still being triggered by because it's alive in your mind? The past is over. It stays alive because of our triggers. The body keeps score. Our nervous system houses these negative imprints in our nervous system. So it becomes in the present. So now we're not dealing with the story of what happened. We're dealing with the negative vibrations that are still inside of us that we need to let go. And it's primarily the story that we tell ourselves that's keeping it alive, right? So we need to change the story in order to neutralize the feelings. And I tell you, the most powerful thing that you can do is get out of the victim mindset. Sounds easy. It's actually quite a very radical thing to do. I'm a huge fan of Byron Katie. What her first book is called The Work. And I highly recommend it. Those of you that are interested in this realm, psychoemotional techniques, she's radical. She really gets folks to completely shift out of the victim mindset in some pretty extreme situations. And I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but if you have the flexibility of mind and the flexibility of your emotions, this is something you can try on for size. Try it on and see, wow, how does that feel? Do I resonate with that? Is that something I want to go into further, more deeply? Or is that just not for me? So I highly recommend checking it out. She was an influential person for me. And remember, folks, all of these techniques have been made up. There's not that much new stuff out there. It's just been repurposed, it's been remarketed. And so just know that a lot of these practices go back to religious traditions, whether it's Buddhism or Hinduism. It's all there. It's just been adapted for modern day delivery. So it's interesting. It's fun. We're very lucky now. We have all of this information available to us readily through the internet and through the library system, my most favorite system out there. So emotional freedom technique is great. SRI, somatic respiratory integration, very, very potent technique for trauma relief. It's connecting your emotions to your thoughts, your feelings, your memories, and having somebody bear witness with you that believes you, that gets it, what's going on. So find somebody that you like. Remember, a lot of it comes down to a personal connection with somebody. There's lots of practitioners out there, but if they don't get you or you don't trust them because they're projecting onto you, which happens a lot, I feel, then they're not for you. You have to like them personally if you're going to be vulnerable with them and trust them with your experience. So look around, find the right person. As you know, a lot of stuff is online now. I'm going to be trying out more things online for you to see if I feel a benefit from doing this kind of personal work with somebody on Zoom. It can be beneficial if you have high anxiety about being that vulnerable with somebody. Zoom may be the way to go. It may be if you do 3 or 4 sessions on Zoom, you can be really open and vulnerable, which could open the doorway for you to then do this kind of work in person with somebody. It's just a thought. The other technique for freeing yourself up emotionally is brain spotting. I know the least about this as I'm getting more involved with trauma relief therapy. It's one of the things that comes up a lot. So I'm going to be looking into that for you. It's similar to EMDR, eye movement rapid desensitization. Try to say that 5 times fast. EMDR. And again, we're changing the brain. Chronic issues, whether it's emotional issues or physical issues, change the brain. Where? The prefrontal lobe. So chronic pain changes the brain. We have to use the body to change the brain. What is the brain? It's the nervous system. What's the entryway into the nervous system in the brain? The ear, right? These are all the peripheral nerves enter into the brain and begin changing the brain, the biochemistry of the brain. And that's where long changes happen. So that's the good news, folks. Okay, so remember all of this emotional stuff, it's about unburdening yourself emotionally so that you can feel free. So that when you walk down the street and you see that baby, because they are everywhere, you are going to be neutral or above. Okay? I'm not saying you have to be overjoyed that this person has a baby, but I don't want you to be so deeply triggered that you retract and you shut down and you go into the past stories. Okay. Light cures light. I was able to spend a little time with Dr. Kilt yesterday in his office, and he was on the phone, of course, with somebody and really encouraging them to feel what it's like to have the baby. Like cures like. Now, that's not the easiest thing to do. It takes a lot of courage to enter into an emotional state where you feel you may be let down. And so I don't think that's an easy thing to do, but ultimately that is the goal, is that you can see the baby, always tell the mother or father that you've just washed your hands and that you are free of symptoms, and try to hold the baby. That's what I did for a long time. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you can, this is law of attraction. It begins in the feeling realm, right? If you have a visualization board and let's say you want an indoor pool, which is what I want, I put it on my my board, just a small indoor pool. Why not? Other people have them. I figure, geez, it's not that much to ask for. I don't want like a private helicopter or anything, just a small indoor pool. The way to manifest that is through the feeling realm. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%. You're going to get whatever you feel you deserve, but you're going to be closer. Okay. So it starts in the feeling realm. As you visualize it, it's definitely not going to happen if you're triggered all of the time. Okay, so that's enough on the emotional realm. So remember, when it comes to food and nutrition, we know what you should be eating. You have to pay attention to when you're eating, how you're eating, and how often. Okay. So if you're eating the perfect diet and you're stressed and you're shoveling the food in and then you're running out the door after, that's not ideal. Okay, all of this takes some willpower. That's the next thing. For you to really make changes in your lifestyle, you have to have willpower. And I can tell you what, for sure, most of us are struggling with willpower. I know I am. We go through spurts, we go through stages. You may be really good in December, and then January comes and you're just over it. You've just had it. You can't get up at 5 a.m. anymore and do an hour long meditation practice, whatever it is. You are not alone. You can look for a coach, you can look for somebody to help you, but ultimately, it is an inside job. We have to develop it. The thing that works for me is noticing how I feel at the end of 20 minutes of breath work, 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of meditation, whatever it is. Hi, Lima Bean, no problem. We'll talk about the block tubes too here in a minute, Amelia. So that's okay. This recording, come back and listen. I'll try to not ramble on for too long. So willpower, it's an inside job. You have to do it. It's always worth it. You may not want to do it and you may have to force yourself to do something, but it's 100% guaranteed that you won't regret doing something that benefits you and your energy and how you feel. So in order to do that, really, you have to strengthen your mind. It comes down to mind training and learning how to interrupt those negative thoughts. It starts with observing them first. If you ask a 5-year-old what they're thinking, they don't know what they're thinking. Hopefully, if you ask a 35-year-old what they're thinking, they're aware of their thoughts. Rarely are we, however, because we're stuck in our autopilot. So emotional maturity is a big part of the mind training. We grow our emotions by becoming aware of our thoughts. They're very connected, right? Our thoughts and feelings really are one. So it's really our mind that often directs our emotions, and sometimes the opposite, but you have to start really paying attention to how you're thinking, okay? And try to think in a positive way. Try to utilize the space between things when you're waiting and you're not really waiting. This is your life, whether it happens to be on a bus or in a waiting room or in the laundromat or in the grocery store. This is your life practice, and this is an opportunity for you to benefit others with your mind. I've been practicing these things for a long time now, and I'm like, wow, it's so easy to do. You're standing in the grocery store line and you can imagine all kinds of things, as opposed to being really annoyed that the person in front of you lost their coupon or can't find their credit card. That's not helping, okay? That is not helping. You can either participate in making the world a better place, or you can participate in bringing the vibration down, and then you wonder why everybody's so miserable. So those are the choices that we have. Thinking about others also really helps. If you want to have a miserable day, think about yourself all day. What happened, what your parents did to you, how awful everything is, how you're feeling, how you haven't gotten what you wanted, blah, 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 blah. And we all have that. You're not alone. We all have a story. It is not easy. But if you can begin to think about others and listening to stories, true tales of resiliency, I think you're going to be amazed at what people have overcome out there. We're so lucky here in the United States. We take all of this for granted. We complain about everything, we demand more. But if you put your mind into other countries and the restrictions that people live in, think about North Korea. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of freedom that we do have here. So start thinking about other people's struggles. I love reading tales of overcoming, tales of resiliency, what people have endured. What was it about them that allowed themselves to transform completely and to get a meaningful life? And for me, that is the true definition of success. Is, of course, you want to be happy, of course you want to be symptoms free, but then to have something purposeful at the same time. And it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a mail carrier or a dog walker or the attorney general, all of that can be meaningful because it's about our interactions with each other and the planet and with yourself. So I believe that is my little lecture for the day. I can talk about this stuff forever. It's fun. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I love to debate these kinds of practices and stuff. Okay, so what about black tubes? Yeah, I mean, remember, our tubes are so tiny, it's like one little piece of hair. So how easy is it to have a black tube? I cannot believe that not all women have black tubes. When you think about inflammation and what happens when the uterus shifts position and then the ovaries get pulled and then these little tubes get yanked, of course they're going to be blocked, scar tissue. So I love castor oil packs for that externally. It's on my blog, jenniferwaters.net. I love phototherapy, folks. Phototherapy. I need to do another discussion on phototherapy and preventing miscarriage because it comes down to cellular energy, and we can use different patches to decrease inflammation, to energize the cells, to create our own stem cells, to increase glutathione, which is the major antioxidant, which is going to help eliminate inflammation and scar tissue. So all of this is on my blog. You can read about it. And I've got some other information there under the phototherapy section. So please check it out. Reach out to me. I'll do my very, very best to email you back and forth. And please have a good day today. Enjoy your life as much as you can. Practice gratitude. Find things that recharge your battery so that you can enjoy this time on the planet. How you think and what you feel really matters. So pay attention to that. And I'll see you next week and maybe on Tuesday.